Respond, baby, sing another song. You're hungry and you need to feed it now. Go and find a place to call your own.
It's Sunday, January 4th, and you've tuned into the People's Patriot Project. We got your 6 at 6. Right now, we're currently listening to WeP3 Radio, proudly produced in partnership with Reese Across America Radio. Together, we share a mission. Remember the fallen, honor those who have served, and teach the future generations the value of freedom. A freedom secured by the brave men and women who have worn our nation's and communities' uniform. Stay tuned for We Got Your 6 at 6. Now playing on WeP3 Radio, Die Tired, Need to Feed.
Torn up jeans and faded plain white tee. You're hungry and you need to feed it now.
Left your left, left right, your left. You got it.
Trucker.
Doctors, roll out. You're watching or listening to We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. We the people, the People's Patriot Project.
To put your skill set, your thoughts, and ideas, or want to help continue the mission, you have come to the right place. We are the People's Patriot Project, and we are the shock and awe when it comes to meeting the needs of our veterans and first responders. We are dealing with a new enemy in today's world where the wounds are not always seen. We want you to be a part of this mission in saving lives and making a difference. Welcome to We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. Here's the WeP3 team bringing you today's best heroes hits in the boots on the ground organizations that are saving lives. And as always, Patriot Pride.
Left your left, left right, your left. You got it.
Trucker.
Good evening. It's Andrea Eichmann here with the People's Patriot Project, and I'm here tonight with Mark and Frank, and we're here to bring you our weekly show called We Got Your 6 at 6. Every week we have a guest, and we bring music as well, and then we share all the good and sometimes not so good things that are happening in our world. This week, we're going to host some amazing discussions with our guests, Janelle MacAulay with Command Your Mindset, and Nathan, Dom, and Timothy with their band Resilient to share some music and some stories. I'd like to thank our sponsors real quick, starting out with Catch-22 and Derek Iozio, the Godfather. He's also part of our team here at the People's Patriot Project, and he is a peer support specialist. You can catch his groups online. Check him out at his website or on social media. Thank you so much, Derek, for being in our corner. And it comes with the daughter as well, who's part of our team, Lauren, and Lauren's part of that peer support as well. Then we have Operation Texas Strong down there in Texas. Imagine that. They help supply RVs to homeless vets. They take in donated RVs. And you guys, some of these have been super amazing RVs, like almost brand new. And they take those and they put homeless veterans in those RVs. They have a campground. They have a campground store, just a whole bunch of support if you are looking for a place to call home. To all of our sponsors, our guests, and our listeners, thank you for being here. And before we dive into this week's show, we'd like you to take a moment to join us for this special version of the Star Spangled Banner with Dave Bray, USA.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take the time to stand if you are capable of standing. Out of honor and respect, please remove your covers and prepare yourself how you need to show your greatest gratitude for the amazing freedoms and liberties we have achieved under one of the most powerful symbols in the world. Please cast your attention as we respect our old glory.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallant
It is time. It is January 4th. We are here for the People's Patriot Project. We got your 6.
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine.
Boom. Get her done. Get her done. Here we go. We're here, folks. It is January 4th. Happy New Year. Thank you for being here. We have some amazing guests. I struggle all the time because I don't think we can ever do a better show, but then we turn around and do a better show. And the part that also sucks is we don't put our musicians, we don't put our guests on a hierarchy because we're all on a mission to make things better. And it's hard to say because we lie. We lie to everyone. We tell we don't have favorites. That's not true. No one can ever say that. Everyone's got, if you go get ice cream, you don't get the ice cream you don't like the least, right? That's the truth. And there are some guests we would like to have in here all the time. We have brand new guests tonight. And as you can see, our panel is absolutely jam-packed. We have the Resilient here. That's the middle tier people. If you're podcast land and world, you won't get to see the Brady Bunch square game here. But we've got 3 of the members from the Resilient. And then we have the amazing Dr. Janelle MacAulay in the space. And something's happening here. We lost one of the band members. And that's okay. We'll get him back. We'll get him back. Shannon Book in the house. If you haven't heard Shannon Book and his music, he's a beast down there in the big state of Texas. Deep in the heart of Texas. Shannon, you ghosted me on my text, brother. I'm going to put you out there. We want to get you back on here on the show, man. Let's go, brah. Get her done.
Dude, we're going to figure out a day tomorrow, just so you know. Got it.
Is that what you've had that conversation? All right. Fair enough. Thank you. He only talks to the pretty ladies. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
That's me. It's just Mark. We'll skip it. Hey, when we talk to our board, we tell them all the time, we are a working organization. We are here, boots on the ground, time to work. I get it, brother. I get it. We're going to put everyone watching the show or listening to the podcast tonight to work. You have a job. And we are introducing to you tonight a new spokesperson for the People's Patriot Project, Bastian the Bison.
At the People's Patriot Project, our mission goes beyond words. It's a rallying cry for action. We all share the vital responsibility to check your 6. Our journey begins with self-assessment. Take a moment, battle check yourself, and determine if you're truly mission ready. If the answer is no, don't hesitate to reach out. Use your skills, tap into your resources, and connect with your network. Whether it's a trusted friend, an organization, or simply calling 988, remember, you must be battle ready to support the mission. Once you feel prepared, it's time to extend that support. Reach out to 6 individuals in your circle. Check in on them. No agenda, no judgment, just genuine connection. This is how we cultivate strength, shield one another, and continue serving our communities. Together, we can reaffirm our commitment. We got this. Patriot Pride.
That is our Check 6 segment. That's much shorter than what I do because it gets into a 50-minute conversation about make sure you have no oozing holes in your body and parts and weird. And we're not going to get, but we have some gentlemen on our show tonight that might have had to bring down that path. Not to get weird and funny because it's not funny, but it's there was an assessment that they needed to make at one point. And so we're going to hear more about that. But check your 6, brothers and sisters. One of the things we hear all the time, first is, I wish I would have reached out. Here's your flipping time, folks. Do it. Take the time. And the other part is, you know what? I wish I would have had the chance to say I love you one more time. And then why didn't they reach out? Well, let's fix the problems, folks. Check your 6. Dr. Janelle MacAulay. You've done everything, but tell us who you are, tell us about your service, and tell us what your mission is.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here with all of you and with the Resilient. Excited to hear you play. So I grew up in a family of public servants in Southern California, and my grandfather served in World War II. My uncle was a Marine helicopter pilot, so he used to take me to the air shows when I was younger, and my dad was a police officer, and my mom was a nurse. So I think I was destined to serve in some way within my community. I ended up going to the Air Force Academy and then spent 20 years in the Air Force as a pilot. So I've spent numerous months of my life in Afghanistan and Iraq flying C-130 combat tactical airlifters. Maybe some of you were in the back of my plane at one point throughout our journeys. I also flew the KC-10 air refueler. So between that, I also led a squadron, a bunch of teams. I actually commanded an operations support squadron that was joint. So I have experience with the Navy. I led sailors, I led airmen, I led soldiers and civilians. And throughout my experience, I always was a high performer, but I struggled in thriving. I kind of felt like most of my career I was surviving, and I'm sure some of you on this panel today can probably relate to that in your military career. And so when the Air Force sent me back to school, they sent me to get my PhD. I had the opportunity to kind of reflect on my experience to that point. And I realized and started studying how we can do hard things and thrive as military members and in general as just human beings. So I started studying the human weapon system and realized that we can actually deliberately and proactively train our minds and prepare ourselves for high stress and rugged environments. And that was something that was completely foreign to me in most of my military career. So since retiring from the Air Force, I have dedicated, my mission is to help others. And I know I can go into that in a little bit. But that's, brought me to where I'm at today speaking. I've got 2 great kids and a military spouse husband who did 22 years in the Air Force as well. And I'm just excited to be here sharing a little bit of my story with your listeners.
Thank you for being here, Doctor. The Resilient, the crew, the band. You guys tell us, man. You got to go not it, and you guys tell us what's going down.
Well, man, I can't tell you how happy we are to be here, and just how appreciative we are that you guys reached out and gave us this opportunity. We are the 3. You got Nathan over here and Dom over there, and we're the 3 veterans in our band. And the other 2 members are Nathan's younger brother and a gentleman named Greg, who was he was a volunteer with a nonprofit at Walter Reed when we were residents. So we were all injured in Afghanistan. I was in 2012, and that's how I'm actually the latest out of the 3 of us in my injury time period. But yeah, that's how we got together through our injuries, and that's where we connected with our love of music, and just seeing it really, how it touched us and how it was changing our lives and our perspectives. And we got some really amazing opportunities initially that, they just fell right into our laps. But we wanted to keep that going and kind of share our lives and our experiences and our hardships through our music and through our performance, and try and keep our brothers and sisters from making that final terrible choice.
You guys met at Walter Reed?
So Nathan and I met at Walter Reed, and then Dom, we met 9 months later, and he had already moved on. He was injured what, 2008, Dom?
I was injured 2010, so I was already outpatient by the time the guys arrived. I was already back in San Diego because that's where I was a Marine with 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines. And so I was out there in Camp Pendleton. And so the way I kind of got introduced to these guys, I already knew Tim. It's a short kind of community of amputees that were happening at the moment, you know, so we knew of people, but I hadn't met him. But we got introduced because we ended up, long story short, meeting because of a famous rock and roller brought us together and put us on a stage. And like Tim said, we had a couple of opportunities with him and loved it so much that we ended up, you know, doing this and continuing the journey.
You going to let us know who your famous rock and roller was?
Oh, I don't know if we were at that point or not, but yeah, it was the Roger Waters of Pink Floyd. I met him in 2011, and I met him at a benefit concert. Not benefit. It was just a benefit charity like a event.
Yeah.
Where they had a bunch of comedians like Robin Williams and people come on, and Bruce Springsteen was playing that night at that show, and this was a pre-party, and he was walking around, and he kind of like beelined it to me, and he had never met much of a critically injured veteran at that point. I'm a triple amputee, so he kind of like beelined it to me and introduced himself, and I told him I played drums and guitar, and he kind of scratched his head how, and he kept me in mind all these years. And then when he got into not years, that was months, sorry. When he finally decided to do a show, when they asked him to do that charity event, he was looking for guys, and that's when he met Nathan and Tim at Music Corps in Walter Reed. And so he remembered me, and he did this benefit show that they asked him to do, and that's kind of where the Resilient started.
I'm blown away. First of all, just so everyone knows, and Dom just announced he's a triple amputee. He's the drummer. What? I mean, I got to throw kind of a Def Leppard ain't got nothing on you, brother. That's
I met Rick. I met Rick. He's an amazing musician, and my hat's off to him because he basically had to rewire his whole brain to play with his feet. I'm fortunate enough to play the drums exactly how a normal person would. I just had to get a little more creative as far as like I turned my walking stick for my right arm into a drumstick, and it went through multiple variations of me breaking it and trial and error. And I have a really good team, Peter Harsh Prosthetics, and my team at HOC, and they just kind of listened and made all my wildest drawings come to reality. And I actually have my pedals that I designed way back in like probably 2011 as well, and they're now patented, and they're registered with the U.S. government. And that's kind of my thing now, is just finding drummers to use that patent on, and that are amputees and don't have the means to get back or think they can. And so that's another journey, but that's kind of where that all started and landed.
Thank you for sharing your I like to say the word humbleness. That's not really a word. The humility in this. Again, it's there's just a mountain of questions, and we have a format for the show, but there's just a mountain of questions that I'm sure just the adversity your entire group has, because you're all coming together as a unit to create a product. Now, here's the other thing I want to tell all these guys live in a different state, and they come together to play at events. There's no one that does that. How do you guys pull this off?
We rehearse a lot.
Yeah, we've been together for that's 2012 when we first started playing. And it's gradually just gotten more and more consistent. And once you play like together with a band that long, you sort of have like an invisible connection. I mean, it's similar to other teams. When you're around people and you're just working at that level.
Yeah, it's a lot of trust and responsibility on us as individuals to just be proper musicians and know our craft, know the songs, and just it also, in a funny way, it relies on our military training and upbringing, because you never want to let that person down by you not being able to carry your own weight. That kind of mentality, musicians are usually flaky, but it's kind of hard to be when you're all military trained, so that's just it. It's just responsibility and a lot of trust that we're going to do what we say we need to do and show up and perform to our highest level. Because that's ultimately the goal, is that we don't want people to really just focus on their injuries. Obviously, you see me in a chair, I'm missing some limbs, and I'm a lot shorter than I was, so it's hard to not see that visual. But at the end of the day, I want you. I get the most thrill out of a person who came late to the show, already sees me on the drums, has no idea, because who really pays attention to the drummer? And I'm going wild back there, and they're like, I jump off my set, and I'm in a wheelchair, and they're like, whoa, I had no clue that you were missing parts, and that's the better enjoyment for me, is just being a good musician, period. Giving a person, just like any other entertainer, that break from life that they need from their reality and their heart set or hardship that they're going through, So that's my job as an entertainer. And it's twofold, because at the end of the day, when they figure out our message and what we're going through, it's the resilient. Everyone can be resilient. Everyone has that ability in themselves, So it's an all-around great reward for me to just be on the stage with my brothers and playing.
Amazing.
Well, I thought I had it tough being a toothless saxophone player, but my God, you guys got it.
But that'd be kind of hard too. I know.
Yeah. Well, these ain't mine.
Nathan, service branch.
Yeah, so I'm the lone Army guy, surrounded by these Marines all the time.
Ooh.
We with you, brother. They're outnumbered tonight. So don't let them. There's three Army on the
It's okay.
screen tonight.
It's in our title, The Few, the Proud. We're okay.
Well, we got 3 of you guys' songs loaded up. We got Classified, Fall in Line, and Just Fine. Which one you want to run with?
I mean, all of them are great. I enjoy playing all of them. I think Classified is a pretty cool one that I like Tim's lyrics in, and it means something to me. It means something in this day and age, so it's relevant. It's one of those songs that I feel is relevant without getting into politics or anything. Just the words speak to me.
Well, I didn't even have to coach you into doing the lead in for it. You gave it to us. I appreciate it. This is the Resilient, Classified.
I need all of you to help me through these crazy times that never stabilize, because the powerful few are in disguise. They don't want you to realize what's around the bend before you count to 10. It's already over. Why don't you want to know what is true? And can you see all the triviality in the things that we do? Invisibly, so constantly, but it's still red that we all bleed. History's here again, so try to make a friend before it's all over. You're not supposed to know. No, you're not supposed to know. You're not supposed to know. No, you're supposed to know anything. I need all of you to help me through these crazy times that never stabilize, because the powerful few are in disguise. Don't want you to realize what's around the bend before you count to 10. It's already over. You're not supposed to know. No, you're not supposed to know. No, you're not supposed to know. You're not supposed to know anything. You're not supposed to know anything. No, you're not supposed to know anything. You're not supposed to know anything. No, you're not supposed to know.
That is The Resilient Classified. Your haircut was a little shorter there, brother.
I swap around fast.
Yeah.
It's been growing in like crazy. I can't keep up.
Wish I had that problem.
How would you guys classify your music?
Rock.
Rock.
Yeah.
I put it in. It is in the radio station. It's on WP3 Radio, not as we speak, but it is there. So people, if you get a chance, go check out WP3 Radio, and you will hear and see the amazing, the Resilient. And they're there to be running all the time now, folks. So that is the tough part. You can also, do you guys have a Spotify channel? I did not find that one right offhand.
We do. If you go to our main website, you could, I believe, access it through there.
Okay.
But we do.
We will get that link up there and put it out there so the rest of the world gets to see it. Frank, what do you got for the news, brother?
I got all kinds of news today. I was going to swap some stuff around after the things that were happening in Venezuela, but I decided that probably wasn't worth the steam right now, since we don't know what's happening beyond what's already happened. The first story we have, we're still working on the ceasefire between Russia and the Ukraine, and President Zelensky came out and talked to President Trump, and they agreed on a bunch of different things, and we found out that President Zelensky is even offering to establish a demilitarized zone in the Ukraine, in their industrial portion of their country. And this is really important to them because they can't afford to release this to Russia. That's a huge loss for them. So they're trying to figure out how to keep that portion of Ukraine under their control. And the other part of the discussions was President Trump offered a 15-year security promise to Ukraine once the war comes to an end. And Zelensky wanted 50 years, but honestly, 15 years from now, I doubt they'll still have the same leader in Russia. So his fears may not come to fruition even at the 15-year level. So they're still working on that, and we'll keep everybody updated as things happen. The next story, and this is interesting, and some of the people on the show might think so. Saudi Arabia bombed a Yemen port city over weapon shipments from the UAE for separatists. And this is a very strong act on the part of Saudi Arabia. And it also shows that there's other countries in the Middle East that are not willing to accept these actions by separatists and terrorists anymore. So they stepped out and they bombed a port. And in the picture in the news section, you can see the military vehicles that were being offloaded from the ship. And none of those exist anymore. So they did a pretty good job. Next story. In California, believe it or not, they're having problems with immigrant truckers. There were a lot of accidents. There were a lot of issues. The biggest part, you got these people driving these huge semi trucks, and some of them didn't even have the insurance that was required to drive them, and how they got the licenses. And they gave them commercial licenses just on the fact that they had driven trucks in other countries before. And it's just not the same in the States. There's a lot of other requirements that have to go into place. And so the group of truckers, of course, found a legal representative, and they're filing suit against California for revoking their commercial driver's licenses. And, you think of California and you think of pro-immigrant and a lot of other things, and fighting back with the federal government sanctuary cities. And I thought it was very interesting that California would take this step and revoke these licenses because they knew what was going to happen. But I think it was the right thing to do, and hopefully really extended beyond the date that the drivers are legally in the country. The next thing is I can't believe this happened. And this one, having been married to two Hispanic women, not at the same time, my first and second wife, there's a lot of cultural buy-in with things like meals. And one of the biggest things that I found in Mexico was this bread that they serve all the time. And so they had a British chef or a baker, and he decided he's going to come out on social media and criticize the Mexican bread as being ugly. Wow. Bad idea. He caught more heck from that than anything he's ever said or written in his entire life. And it just went back and forth. I mean, it was never ending. And there was people saying what an ugly person he was, and how dare you say bad things about this famous and important delicacy from Mexico. And he finally ended up apologizing, but when he apologized, he said, well, it isn't the ugliest bread I've ever seen. So, yeah, not very smart. But that was my one, can't believe this happened. And that's the news for today, brother.
Thank you for sharing, Frank.
I like ugly bread. I mean, that bread.
Pretty bread is like what you call white bread. I mean, like the stuff you get from the grocery store. You got to get the bumpy, the nutty, all the stuff on it. You got to have little crusty pieces on it. That's the good bread, right?
I like all bread.
Yeah.
My grandmother used to make bread, and every time she'd make bread, she'd call my dad, and no matter what we were doing, he'd put us in the car and drive the whole family over. So when the bread came out of the oven, he was, he was the first one there, and he had 8 other brothers and sisters.
Bread is another thing.
He was my grandmother's favorite, though, so that was nice. Did we lose a guy?
We lost Dom. He might be running into some tech issues. I heard some microphone feedback stuff, but hopefully he gets back.
Yeah.
Dr. MacAulay, and we're gonna do a little round circle real quick. Do you do New Year's resolutions, and would you share? I mean, because maybe it's not appropriate for the show. If for some people, not you, it'd be like perfect. But I mean, you gotta be careful with some people on the panel that might not be appropriate. Do you do New Year's resolution? And if you care sharing, go ahead and do that.
Sure. I don't necessarily do resolutions, but I like to bucket and theme my years around something like a goal or something that I'm trying to get better at as a human being. That's kind of how my family and I have done it for many years now. And so this year, like some years it's been, can I be more present? Some years it's been, can I, set like a big fitness goal that I'm trying to like motivate myself and others around me around. This year, I have kind of settled on this idea of eliminating busy in my life. And I think just being more deliberate with my time and my energy is what I want to focus on, because a lot of times, we tend to, if someone asks, how are you doing? The first thing out of your mouth usually is busy. And I like, what does that actually mean? Right. And I've used that phrase a lot. I hear a lot of people say it. And so I would like to eliminate busy from my life and replace it with more meaningful interactions. So that's kind of my theme for this year, 2026.
Miss Eichmann, you got a resolution?
It's pretty much the same all day, every day, just to do better than I did yesterday. These are pretty open. Sometimes that's like, don't eat that cracker, right?
Yeah. Never mind. I'll leave that one alone. Timothy, resolution.
So, I mean, personally, I love giving myself goals, and, whether that's, a challenge or a new skill or, but I kind of broke it up into, things, a couple of things I want to learn, and, things where it's more like a couple things where it's like daily stuff you want to build in. But so journaling is one thing that just a consistent kind of putting down of my, I mean, I write a lot, but in terms of what happened today or, what's going on in my head or how am I feeling, it more comes out in, little bits for, the songs or, chunks of poetry or different stuff like that, where it's not really just your thoughts written out, which I've found to be surprisingly helpful, because, a little reread occasionally, going back and looking at where you were. It was something I wanted to be doing consistently last year, and it was very spotty. And so that's one thing that for me, I just really want to kind of just make it a normal daily thing.
Dom, I'm throwing you under the bus a little bit here. Do you do a New Year's resolution, and do you mind sharing it if you do?
Nah, I don't do New Year's resolutions because I think that's just for me, and this is just me speaking, it's a weak point of my mindset. Like I've noticed if I wait for an opportunity to do something without just doing it today, even if it's not perfect, there will be no resolution to the resolution, no solution to it. So I really don't do that. I just try to put one foot forward in front of the other, because there's no time like the present.
I love it. Nathan, resolution, if you want to share
it. Sort of a hybrid of Dom and Janelle, maybe. I've used to do resolutions, and this year I just didn't put a ton of thought into it. But I guess I'm trying to bring back some of the things that I've lost joy in over the years. Because I thought that those things are like not productive or uncool or something, but that, I feel like I've been fighting myself for the longest time to change those things that I enjoy. And so this year I'm just trying to get back to some of the things that, like that childhood sort of fun, I guess.
Frank, resolution, share it if you want.
Well, I got kind of behind in my writing, so my resolution for this year is to publish 2 books. And that'll catch me up on my timeline.
I am kind of with Dom. I'm not a resolution guy. I think, sadly and unfortunately, we create this year piece. And again, this is me speaking. I think there's too many missed opportunities if we put something on the clock and we wait for a time to get it done. You miss opportunities. And so we have lived with the mission with the People's Patriot Project as the version of us tomorrow should be better than the version of us today. And so I kind of adhere to that. It doesn't mean that I think that things need to be written down. And I'm one of those that writes too much stuff down. I've got a stack of note cards on my desk about this tall from all the stuff. I need to have a better organizational process because Google Works is not the answer, because that just gets lost somewhere back in the back file thing. Because I'm a visual guy. If I see it, I act on it. And so I'm working on that piece. And knowing that I need to work on that piece. And so that's going to be my daily kind of combat pieces until I figure out how I can attack things on it. Because there's no downtime in my space. My downtime are little 20-minute snoozers, and I'll get to sleep about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'll get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And that's without an alarm clock. And that, I'm going to tell you, that's frustrating because I can't figure out how to get more sleep because I tried to do that. That's the other side of this. And so maybe I should see a doctor for that. Maybe I'll put that on my list of, hey, get some sleep. I've got
something for you, Mark.
Okay. I'm going to listen to you.
So this is one of my specialties. A lot of times I think if you're a high performer, military veteran, anyone with trauma, we don't get the quality rest we need because our mind prevents us from getting the restorative relaxation and sleep. And what I mean by that is your mind can be constantly it's like that of a drunk monkey. Maybe you've heard of that phrase. Sometimes it's double-fisted at the bar, right? And really accentuating your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions. And so that's where our attention goes, and that's what we pay attention to. And that's the worst thing that can happen when you're trying to get restful sleep. So you might fall asleep very quickly, but then it will be your mind that will wake you up and then prevent you from getting back to sleep. So I have a couple techniques you can try. If it is, thoughts that are just to-do lists that keep you up, if it is creative type thoughts, journaling can be a great resource before you go to bed, or having a journal right next to your bed. And then as soon as those thoughts come in, you got to write them down, because our brain thinks if I don't write this down, I need to remember it. So it's going to constantly repeat it in your mind. But once it's safe written down, your brain can actually release those thought patterns. So that's for that type of thought process. If it's worries and stressors and anxiety, because that's what keeps a lot of people up as well, things that you can't control, yet they're going to be constantly repeated in your mind. Or maybe it's a past trauma that comes back, or maybe it's just things that keep you and prevent you from that restful relaxation. There's a technique, and it's called a progressive muscle relaxation. Maybe you've heard of this before, but basically you start by directing your attention to your body parts instead of the thoughts inside your head, right? So we start at the bottoms of our feet and we relax. You want to kind of think through relaxing your big toe, and then your second toe, and your third toe, and your fourth toe, and your pinky. Go across the bottom of your foot, your ankle, your calf, back of your knee, like all the way up your body. And simply by redirecting your focus and attention from the thoughts inside your head to your body parts, you will allow your brain to get that relaxation, to get the restoration that it needs, and you will fall asleep. A lot of people that have tried this, and I've had a lot of veterans and high stress people do this, by the time they get to like their waist, right? They're kind of relaxing their waist, getting to their back, they fall asleep and they don't remember ever relaxing their upper body. And so I encourage you to try that, maybe try it multiple times. And it's just a way of focusing your system of attention, which likes to, you know, listen to those thoughts. And instead of listening to the thoughts, it comes into the present moment, into the like play button of your mind, so that you can release any of those distracting thoughts and get the rest you need.
There's some stuff in there. You nailed it. I'm the guy that falls asleep instantly. Like if I'm driving, I'm good. If I'm in the passenger seat, this has happened with, I'm out. I'm gone. See you later. I can't be in the passenger seat, because that's the amount of time I spend up and on my feet and going. It is just okay. Yeah. My coworkers, I'm a school teacher. My coworkers know that lunchtime is I get a little 5 skis in, and then we play a couple card games during lunch.
And I'm not against naps, right? Like get the rest that you need when your body allows you to do it. But you should be getting more than 3 hours of sleep a night. Like 1 to 4 is not okay. In fact, like I want you to think about it this: you are operating in a suboptimal space when you go in to do whatever it is you're doing, because our human body needs more sleep than that. Yours just happens to not be getting it, and you've probably now built that customization into your lifestyle. So I will encourage you, try it out. Try that progressive muscle relaxation. See if you can get a little bit more sleep, because even just a little bit more will benefit you in the long run.
The break, because we just had our winter break. The winter break did help me a little bit, but if I'm not thinking about school, I'm thinking about the nonprofit. I'm not thinking about the nonprofit. I'm thinking about the new house. I'm not thinking about, and writing it down. And I'm not trying to poo-poo what you're saying, because these are things that I've researched and studied. The second I write it down, I'm on to the next thing then. So because I've already written it down. And so then I'm on to the next thing. Then I'm on to the next thing. Then I'm texting Andrea saying, hey, we got to work on this. And then I'm texting social media. Then I'm texting. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. I need to retire from teaching, and then that'll fix all the things. Confident. Dr. MacAulay, what are you working on right now? What are you getting done?
Well, I have part of the effort that I'm really focusing on is the military, and getting them to proactively engage with this idea of psychological performance skills and front loading them into the military training experience. Because I think we experience trauma, and then we really don't know how to navigate it. And maybe we've got some great folks that help, from psychologists to our mental health professionals that help us right of bang, right? We had a traumatic event. We're having to experience it. We are having to deal with it and heal from it. And we have some great resources for our military members. But really, if you look at the research, there is a lot we can do left of bang, right? Left of the traumatic event. And that's really what I focus on, is how can we teach leaders? How can we build training programs? How can we build skill sets in individuals so that they're more empowered to make better decisions as they face adversity and challenges, and build their resilience. And I really like to think of resilience as this, not just bouncing back, but bouncing forward and through, because anytime we do something hard, we are different, we're changed. I know all these gentlemen that are amazing, and I'm just honored to be on this panel with you, have experienced that and are walking examples of what that resilience of having something traumatic happen and being a better version of yourself on the other side of it. But a lot of our military members don't get that. And it is a mindset. There are a lot of people who struggle with a lot less than all of us on this call, and they can't function, right? They can't get out of their mind. They can't get out of the thoughts that are really overpowering and really lead them down these paths of making emotional overreactions to the things that happen to themselves and in their life, versus making the rational response and really thinking through and having the right mindset. So I am like so amazed at this team that is here today and all that you've been through and the mindset you have. That's a great example for those that are listening today and just those that interact with you on a daily basis. So I commend you on that, because I know how hard it is. And I'm trying like to get that training into the military earlier so that individuals can build those skill sets before they actually need it. And leaders can be taught how to build culture around that. So I have a program called Warrior's Edge, which I created with Dr. Michael Gervais, who's a high performance sports psychologist, and Coach Pete Carroll of the Raiders. And we've built this curriculum based on our expertise and knowledge in this space of mental performance and doing hard things. And so I've been working with a lot of military teams. I also have partnered with Headspace, which is a meditation app. And so I work within the Air Force, within the Army, within the Navy. And then I also have recently built what's called a mind gym. So it's a mental skills trainer that the military is investing in to have on each military base, where individuals can go in and either do a stress to rest session, where if I'm stressed out, I can go in there before I do something hard, or they can learn a lot of these mental skill sets, these mental performance skills, so that they can be badasses and all the hard things they're asked to do as military members. So that's, and then I do a lot with nonprofits. I know you've had members of Team Red, White, and Blue on this podcast as well. So I'm on there, I chair their advisory board and really work with them to help our veterans in both the space of fitness, physical fitness, and then mental fitness as well. It's obviously a passion of mine. And so thank you for letting me share it.
You're well spoken around it. I mean, I think doctors are probably required to be well spoken in the space of expertise. I really want to connect you with Joe Meisch because of the pieces that you do with mine. And he is out of Washington, and he has the temple massager that does all the things, like allows relaxation. Andrea actually, this was before Frank was with me, and I was using the temple massager during a show one night, and literally that was the thing that is like, okay, nighty night, it's gone. But it uses aromatherapy in with it. He was having a conversation about adding a mechanical device to it where there would be a vibration in there as well. But the things that you're talking about with the addition of this tool to just sit and relax, to think, pull your mind together, put all the things. I think that would be a very dynamic relationship, and it's not about selling a product. It's about making a difference. And so that's something behind the scenes that at some point I'd like to at least try and create that introduction. You're in the right crowd that are making the right decisions. And that's the other piece that we always and are willing to have every and any conversation with anybody that says, and are boots on the ground, because I think there's too many conversations that aren't had. And then no one knows what they don't know. And so we're stuck. And that, again, in the organizations of 86,000, we've got to figure out a way. 86,000 organizations, and we're still losing 6,000 service members a year to their demons. And I'm like, come on, we've got to connect these two. And it's got to happen. So thank you again, Dr. MacAulay, for being on here. We're not done with you. I know we've hit our 1 hour mark. And I know our documentation says we're 1 hour-ish, or 2 times 2. If there's a hard out where anyone needs to leave, we're good. We're graciously thankful for the things that you've provided and are here. So just give us a little note in the private chat, and we'll make things work the way they need to work. So, the Resilient. What do you guys? How many? I don't like to use the word concerts. When I hear concerts, I'm thinking about like sixth graders with recorders, and that's not you guys. How many events do you guys play a year?
Honestly, well, as many as we can, but it's been getting to be more every year. I want to say this last year we did probably about 25 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I saw something really cool in November that you just did. Yeah.
Yep. We've been getting all kinds of crazy cool opportunities, but that was about 3 weeks beforehand. We got asked to play the halftime show for the 49ers game with the Rams out in. Yep. It was wild. But what was that, Nathan? November 9th? That was their.
Yeah, it was like 2 days before Veterans Day. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was for the NFL does their salute to service games, and yeah, we got asked to do it this year.
That's super cool.
Outstanding, and that's a great way to get the exposure of roughly 60,000 people that get to hear you, and then roughly 3% of that should be service oriented in some shape or form with the numbers. But and again, when we're playing our musicians, and sorry, we're going to label you guys as our musicians now. I hope that doesn't offend you. There's some people that come out of they're not yours. They're not yours. I get it. That we have a relationship. It's a loose one, but I want to build it and do more. I had my moment. My gone. It's see you later. How many events can you guys or do you guys want to do a year?
I think probably as many as like logistically are feasible. So, one factor that comes into play with us sort of being all spread apart, it's expensive to travel and to stay places. So when we ideally we'll get we like call them an anchor date. So like a lot of times it'll be another nonprofit organization or a corporation or just a larger entity, somebody that has some money to pay for the initial expenses, and then once we get to that area we can reach out, or a lot of times people have already reached out to us that don't have the funds to bring us out, and then we can put together a little mini tour. So we've done that a handful of times now in the last couple of years, done little mini tours. We have a relationship with the VA. We've done a couple of these little mini tours. It started at the Columbus VA a few years ago, and then they brought us back again, and it extended to the region. So we did like the VAs sort of around Columbus, so like Dayton and this like little place called Chillicothe, and then started to be able to get like the littler, like mom and pop kind of people that they would love to have us out, but if it was just them, we couldn't afford to get out there.
We've been pushing really, really super hard to have A-listers. And for those who don't know an A-lister, it's the ones that we're buying concert tickets for, the ones that we're going to spend $200 and some dollars to go see a concert. We've been pushing really, really hard to build relationships with their teams to allow our veteran organizations and our veteran musicians to come in and open and to be part of that. Because the thing that we've ran into is when we have events and when we do things with veteran, no one knows their names, unfortunately. I hope your network is growing. Again, I have a young lady at school say, "Have you heard of the Resilient?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's go, let's grow." And so that was an amazing opportunity there. And the Resilient will be on our lips religiously and consistently. But we had 6 veteran musicians come into Minnesota to do an event here in Minnesota. And one of the things was, well, we've never heard of these people. And I'm like, you're right. How do you sell tickets to someone where you don't even know and then get their music out in front of them? Because that's another piece. Independent artists, I'm assuming you guys are doing all the things, social media, doing your recordings, getting your bookings, doing it's not an easy job. A band is easier than individuals. We had a great conversation with a musician today out of Texas who wants to do something more, and they're doing it on their own and they're by themselves. And it's like, okay, being an indie artist, we try to get nominations to the Josie Awards in Nashville so that we can get people in there and get more people seeing their stuff. Exposure. And the football game was a great opportunity for you guys. I'm excited for your opportunity. But again, I think, oddly enough, I want to use the word resilience or the resiliency in regards, you guys are resilient. You've worked through all the stuff. There are added features, and there's not once that you guys have brought it up during the show. For the most part, it's been me bringing it up. You guys are animals, man. You're animals. I love it. And you're just getting it done. No whining, no complaining. I'm confident you have your down times and your down moments, but you got a team that you can to rest on. Again, that's why we created Check Your Six. You guys have probably got that close relationship where, you know, when you're having a down moment, you can share the secret. Kind of our first song that we talked about, our secret. You're not supposed to know. Yeah, well, that's why we wear the beacon green with the WP3 group, is because you need to see who's in front of you. It's an oxymoron. There's not a veteran and first responder in the world that I know of. Don't get me wrong, there are some that say, "Look at me, look at me, look at me." They just want to continue the mission. They just want to be part of the mission. They want to go to the grocery store, do their job, and go do whatever they can. But there's nothing wrong at the same time for there to be a little beacon, a little shiny spot that says, "Hey, this man or woman has served their community, has served their country." You don't need to even acknowledge me out. "Hey, thanks for sharing. Thank you for your service. I appreciate that. It doesn't mean a lot to me. I will acknowledge, yes, thank you. Great. Okay, move on. Let's go." The mission continues, folks. There's no destination in what we're trying to get done. And that's the message I'm hearing, A, from Dr. MacAulay, and B, from the band, The Resilient. I love it. And I'm paraphrasing, and I apologize, but now I want to be aggressive and stand on a box and say, "Hear the message, folks."
Well, brother, that's part of you know, how we ended up where we are. We all got a very you know, just unexpected. I mean, it's sort of expected, but it's still unexpected. You know, wake up call, and sort of, it's like, you can't do your job anymore. You can't complete the mission, you know, the way you intended. You've gotten dropped out of your unit. You can't go back to your boys and help them out. And so what do you do next? And what are you now that you can't be, you know, an infantry marine, or, you know, an infantryman in the Army, or whatever job you have that suddenly gets taken away? And it's such a big part of the identity that, you know, suddenly you're cut a little adrift. And honestly, I've heard that exact same series of emotions and feelings from guys and girls just getting out of the military and going back to civilian life. they had to toss us on choppers, and they had to, like Dr. MacAulay, fly us home or fly us out. And, they had to bear all that weight, carry all that guilt of being okay, through everything. And people look at them and physically they're fit. And so it's all right, you're good. But like Dr. MacAulay was saying, they're not taught how to unpack that stuff. All of the, your buddy gets blown up right in front of you. They tourniquet you, patch you, toss you on a chopper as soon as they can. Don't know if you're going to live or die. They got to operate the rest of that day. They got to operate the rest of that week. They got to keep going. And so they got to take all that stuff and they got to just pack it away and keep it away until the mission's over. But then coming back, you're not told how to unpack that or how to reconnect with all those emotions that you divorced yourself from so completely just to be able to do your job, to be able to complete your mission.
The service members keep their stuff in a duffel bag and it just gets put in the closet, and that's where it stays. I got to bust out a format here a little bit. Dr. MacAulay gave me, and I don't know how long ago, it was 8 minutes ago. She's got a heart out, and that's fine. We want to give you a chance to say, okay, what's the next big thing for Dr. MacAulay and your final thoughts if you want to share that. And we just appreciate the time you've given us tonight.
Oh, well, absolutely. Mark and Andrea, thank you for the invite. And Frank, it was nice to meet you as well. The Resilient, I'm going to now be one of your biggest fans. So
appreciate that. Thank you.
I'll share it as much as I can for people to reach out and listen to you. Not just for your music, but for your stories. Timothy, thank you for that. My closing thought, I could say so much because you were unpacking a lot of the work that I do and why it's so important, because we don't teach military members from day one how to create their identity outside of their service, outside of the uniform they wear every day. And I know how hard that is. I mean, I wore a flight suit for 20 years and identified as a pilot. And then I actually, for my issues, and this is not anywhere compared to what you have, but I can't fly anymore because I have some blindness in my right eye. And that was what I was trained to do. And that was what I thought I would do. I'm lucky to have a lot of other great gifts and skill sets, just as you do, to make something of myself, despite not being able to do what my military career trained me to do. And I think that's where a lot of military members, first responders deal with it too. When they retire, when they separate, when they can't do that job anymore, who am I now? And so a lot of my training program is about helping people to understand who they are, not just what they do. They're a human being, not a human doing, is what we teach in our course. And so what is underneath that human being, and what it gives you purpose, what gives you life, what gives you energy, what gives you, right, like this meaning. We always say, what is your personal philosophy, without having to describe your job, right? Who are you underneath it? And so thank you for sharing that, because that is what contributes. That's one of 16 different ways I think you can train your mind. But those are the skill sets we're not training our military members on, whether they are the person experiencing trauma and injury, or just experiencing trauma and having survivor's guilt and moral injury. Like that's significant as well. And I do truly believe that if we invest in our minds left of bang, we will come up with some solutions for all of our first responders and military members. And so my next step is I am trying to get some legislation passed in Congress so that we can start mandating some of this training, because it's really just if a commander feels that the investment is worthwhile, they will make the investment. But there's no systemic training in psychological performance. There's no systemic investment in any of the military services on focusing on building a warrior mindset so that we can be more resilient when we experience psychological and emotional trauma in combat zones. So that is my effort for this year. I really want to try to get some of that legislation passed. And then I also have a book coming out called Breathless. So we are about to start pre-sales in the new year. So look out for that. But it's about my experience working a mission in Syria, and how that changed me and how the mental skills helped me come up with an innovative solution to a really hard problem in a really complex part of the world. So thank you again for letting me share. I'm a better person for having been part of this call and to get to know you and hear your stories. So I really, truly appreciate that. Thank you. And I'm grateful for all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. MacAulay.
Thank you for everything you do and for your service.
Absolutely.
And we'll say goodbye to Dr. MacAulay for the night. I have a feeling we're going to see her again, though. I really do. So we were in the space where we were talking with Resilient. I think this is the first time we've ever done this, but I do think based on the conversations and what has been said tonight, I think our show should just be called Resilient, is what I think it should be called tonight. So we've never done that with like a band name or a guest on the show, but it's we've got to do it. We've got to figure out those pieces, and these guys have figured it out, living through adversity. And again, like, we don't rank our guests on a. I also don't think we need to get in the business of ranking people's traumas, turmoil, and stuff. I know that happens in our world of service member. Oh, you weren't a Navy SEAL, you weren't a Marine, you weren't combat veteran, you were just a cook. We do enough of that, folks. So let's not get on that platform and realize that we all got stuff. And I'm just, again, I'm going to echo Dr. MacAulay's. I'm in awe, shock and awe of your guys' resilience. And I just, again, I'm a better person having this platform and because of you guys. And again, I don't think we're gonna be like a stray cat to you guys. Is that okay? We're gonna pester you a little bit. We're gonna be in your biz. I know we have Nathan's contact information.
Mm-hmm.
Nathan, will you share other contact information through that thread, and we'll stay. And I can also do my my little checks that I like to do. But let's get to another one of your guys' songs. And
if I can say, brother, real quick,
yeah,
we get that all the time where, it's like, well, this is nothing compared to what you've gone through, and it's like, no. Like, this is my life. I have my own pains, my own losses, my own struggles. Your life, you have experienced heartbreak, you have experienced terrible pain, you have experienced
loss,
stuff I wouldn't want to go through. And honestly, I'm glad nobody had to go through what I've gone through, but I wouldn't want to take anybody else's suffering, and instead, like, this is it's one of those things where it's, your pain, you can't minimize that. And
yeah, it's like one time I was having a conversation with my wife, and she said, oh, I should stop complaining because at least my foot that's hurting, I have a foot. And I was like, whoa, like, that was so heavy to me because that totally invalidates your pain. Your 10 is your 10. I could be having you could ask me today right now, and I'm actually not having any pain. Even being a triple amputee, I'm perfectly fine. So, like, that's a unfair assessment of your own situation. When you don't validate your own shit, you know what I mean? You can't fix it. And if you can't fix yourself, you can't help anybody else. I think people need to realize that there's a lot of guys that will say, oh, I won't do my VA benefits because there's guys like you that need it more. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. We have enough in supply that we can take out for everyone. The problem is not recognizing your own shit and thinking that you can't because somebody else is worse off. That's just not how it works. Everyone's pain is valid. And when you recognize that, the faster you'll heal, in my opinion.
again, it's awesome hearing that, because it's simple. It's easy for me to say, like the comment of your wife. I mean, we're really good friends with Bobby Hennon and or Henline, and he's always doing his very uncomfortable, crispy, burnt jokes, and it's just like, Bobby, it's uncomfortable for me. Stop. And he's gonna come back with another one, and it's and that I get that is his
therapy.
That's his medicine.
Yeah.
That's his. This is how I deal with the stuff. When he pokes me with his nub, and I'm like, I'm feeling violated right now, Bobby. I think a lot of people would put you in jail for what you're doing with that thing right now. But no, it's a blessing, and Still Effing Here group that does an amazing job. And again, we've brought up the pieces tonight. Not once have you guys said, "Hey, look at me. This is what I got." And again, I appreciate that. It's the same thing as having the conversation of thank you for your service in a sense, because people want to just do good. So here's an example. I have a young lady in my classroom who regularly has seizures, and she gets frustrated when people are watching her when she's having her seizure, and she comes out and she's like, I've asked you guys not to look at me. And I just took her to the side one day, and I'm like, it's not because they're looking at you because they want to be part of the show. They're looking at you because they're worried and concerned about you, and they want to know that you're okay. Now that you've voiced your stuff, I think people will look away and try and learn and grow and be better. But there's always a learning curve when it comes to this, because people want to know, why are you missing your limbs?
Right.
Why are you? Why the hell are you still doing something, wearing this badge saying I served my country when you got blown up? I mean, and that's dumb. People say that stuff, but that's okay. And sorry if I offended anyone when I say that. It's uneducated, but they want to know. And so I just appreciate you guys. I can't get enough of it right now, and it's my brain is. I won't get to sleep tonight. Thanks, guys. This is gonna be your fault. I'll have to call Dr. Janelle later and say, hey, the Resilient got me all spun up tonight. You got a fix for that?
I got a couple breathing videos that I do to help me like chill out at night sometimes, and I'll send them over to you after this.
I appreciate that. What song you guys want to roll with now?
What do you got?
I'm thinking you have Lost and Just Fine, right?
Yeah.
Just Fine and Fall in Line.
So Lost and Just Fine for me, it sort of relates to like what we were saying about like we've arrived maybe, or like I guess I don't want to give off the impression, at least for myself, that like being resilient is an end state. It's always a constant struggle, at least for me, to stay resilient. And I guess the one thing that I have achieved throughout, the experiences that I've had in my life, and a lot of, it applies to so many things like the band and, my individual relationships and things. But it's the idea of, kind of, I could use the words, I might be lost, but I know that I'll be just fine kind of idea. So that's kind of what I get out of this. But Tim's the one who wrote the lyrics, so he's the only one that knows the true meaning.
Is he on? Does he got it right, Tim?
Well, honestly, it's one of those things where it was just like a pouring out of nostalgia and kind of what Nate was saying, that trying to hold on to that childlike sense of wonder and discovery and appreciation, for the world. And that's kind of what the song is kind of what came out of that feeling. Well, I'd love to know your guys' takes on it.
Okay. Well, this is a great conversation because we run into this regularly and that's the great tool of music, because the lyricist and the artist has an intent for them, but other people can hear it and get a complete pseudo message that feeds them. And so I love this conversation. Two guys in the same band might not hit right on top of the head, but I appreciate Nathan's point in the fact that this is a work in progress. I don't wake up every day and say, oh, I feel full. And I think people need to remember that. And we're not trying to dig up dirt on you guys and dig up your feelings, but I think our veterans and our first responders, especially who don't get any acknowledgement, need to know that is okay. It's okay. It's a progress. And there are people out there that know. Be careful of saying, I know how you're feeling, because that's not accurate. No one knows how any other person is feeling.
Well, I think also using some sort of like a familiarity, like in the field as a grunt, I just didn't go into battle by myself. As far as an infantry, we had heavy guns. We didn't just have our medium guns. We had air support sometimes. We had artillery. If we were lucky, we had tanks. None of that should happen in Afghanistan. But I'm just saying, I'm kidding. But like, we have support. You know what I'm saying? So why is it now any different? Why is it and the reason it's different is because in the military, we're taught mission first. Troop welfare is second. Mission accomplishment is always first. Let's get it done. You're expendable. This is what we trained you to do. You're a bullet sponge. Yada, yada, right? But when you come back, only the ones that are really, truly wounded are pushed to the therapists, the therapies. The wizards is what we like to call them in the Marine Corps. Nobody wants to go to wizard when you're in. That's showing weakness. That's showing you're not a man. Always saying, suck it up, buttercup. We've all heard it. Start your 9 mil, whatever it is. All the things that we say, Semper Gumby. But the thing about it is that even in those situations, you were always leaning on support. You had somebody you were listening to. You had people that supplied you food, ammunition. You had intel. You had recon. So again, we have to make this understandable to other vets that those resources that we're seeing in forms of psychiatrists and programs and things like that, that is your support. There's no shame in using that support to accomplish the mission of bringing yourself home, And I think that's what we need to do a better job in. And to touch, because I have TBI, and just to touch on the thing when you're saying that there's so many organizations out there, there needs to be something created where in a certain mile of radius, everyone talks to each other and says, these are the services we have to get together in this 150-mile radius, where we can sit here and see, hey, we do funding here of housing, we do over here of this, of that, and that's where you can identify your gaps and say, this is, and I love what you guys say, we don't have a specific mission, because you're right. There's so many that provide housing. There's so many provide, but then you ask for an oddball thing and you feel left out, but that's the struggle you and your family now face. And that's the hardship you're going through, and no one's willing to help you because their bylaws don't allow for it. And so I think that's the thing, is that people need to understand is like, we need to talk to each other. That bridge is getting that communication of civilian support is still support, even if it's, even if they weren't there. My first psychiatrist told me, son, when I was basically ignoring him and saying stuff, he said, I don't need to know what you went through, because I have the tools for you to plug in what you went through to get to this part. And that's what really woke me up, because that's what I was holding against these guys. You don't know where I've been through. You don't know what I've gone through. You don't know. You didn't share. But the only closest enemy that I already said it, the closest person is my enemy that can understand me, right? And that's not true. That's just simply not true. But having that guard up and having that stuff and not having the proper tools is stopping us. And for some of us, like you said, turning to alcohol and stuff, well, guess what? The demons can still swim. And then you take that final decision that ends your life because you didn't acknowledge or recognize or didn't know those tools were available to you.
You brought up something earlier, and we are our own worst enemies. And the fact that we sit there and we rib each other So we got to have this bravado. I'm the biggest, baddest, and I don't need to go see the wizard, and F you. And you don't want to have that chink in your armor. You don't want anyone to know. But again, and no one is asking you to run out on social media and spill your guts out there and say, no one's asking you to do that piece. Keep it quiet. Keep it to your friends. And know who you're talking to, because that's another side of it. And remember, brothers and sisters, when someone is telling you the heavy stuff, don't use that as the ha-ha later. And that does happen. It's, again, we're our own worst enemies, and we'll get it figured out. I want to get to the song, Lost and Just Fine. Andrea asks me all the time, okay? I tell her I'm fine. I'm fine. Lost and Just Fine. This is The Resilient. that is Resilient. Lost and Just Fine. And we got one of our other musicians out there, Michael Allen. If you get a chance to listen to him, he's calling you guys fire. Boom.
Thanks, Michael. We'll check you out, brother.
Yeah, he's a beast, man. He's a beast. You guys are a beast. That book's a beast. You guys.
I don't know if Dom likes his own song. Do you think he likes his own song?
We should probably let them know that we can see them the entire time.
I always drum to everything. My wife always
you were
like,
drumming it, dog. You were drumming it. I saw Timothy earlier belting it out as well. He was letting it roll, and he's got to do that.
Can't be helped sometimes.
We truly do. I mean, I guess I shouldn't speak for everybody, but I'm pretty sure I do enjoy playing. The music. This is, like we said earlier, we touched on this. We're not signed to a record label or anything. I mean, we've had opportunities to, but at the end of the day, we just chose to, steer our own ship, if you will. See from the music aspect to the business aspect, but truly, this album we made was finding something we all put our separate ingredients in and made something tasty out of it versus playing we have other songs that were made specifically for certain things, and which shows our creativity that we can do songs like that were made for specific reasons, but then that in our album it sounds like us and what we want to play and do.
Have you guys had a chance to hear your stuff on the radio?
I don't think so. I don't think I've actually heard our stuff on the radio yet. No.
May have been once or twice with like college radio type of situation, I think, but not really.
Because that's a question I'll ask musicians is
Yeah.
what's it like to hear your music when people acknowledge your music, and I gotta let you guys know, you're inspiring me, and not that. I mean, I get inspired a lot. Don't get me wrong. So I don't want to minimize it either. But at the same time, it's like Michael Allen is seeing you. He's hearing you. He's like, "Yeah, this is it. Let's go." You got a little side conversation going on with them, but it makes me, because we've got friends in places. We've built some relationships in towns that are known for music, and it's like, why not? Let's go. Let's grow.
Heck yeah.
And,
yeah.
And
why not? We love connecting with veteran musicians who are just, kind of on the same journey we are. There aren't that many super severely injured, veteran musicians, but honestly, I don't know about the other guys, but in my personal opinion, from the very start in November of 2012, the first show we did together with Roger and, all that, I've always felt like the least qualified person on the stage, everybody's got their shit together. Everybody they're all great musicians, technically, and, the talent, and bless you. And, the whole nine. And I've always felt like the least qualified one around. And I'm always chasing to improve, to get better. And that's part of the fun for me, is these guys are constantly pushing me, and they do all the hard work. They coordinate and make this beautiful musical wave, and I just kind of float on top of that, and just ride it. But that's the aspect of being able to do that together. That is really what makes the big difference for me, because otherwise I feel like I'm just sitting in kind of a pool of my own inadequacy, versus like you're around these people who inspire you, who push you, who motivate you. And when we get together, it's great. It's just sparks. I mean, that's one of the blessings of the kind of the distance is I feel like we're just waiting to get back together and to work and to, and we can work on our own, but you don't get the same kind of inspiration and the same kind of lightning strikes. It doesn't feel the same when you're by yourself.
That is what seems to be like. I don't want to say it's a hurdle in your guys' because you guys are doing great things, but yeah, they have that minute to minute, that day to day inspiration as oh yeah, I got that. But I'm sure you guys get to do a lot of video time, FaceTime, and stuff like that, where you're like, hey, check this out,
and that is one of the great things. Oh, I was going to say that's one of the great things, but like rehearsing together over any kind of video, it's like, all right, set the metronome, and it's different for everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I just feel like that's kind of it. That's exactly what it is. I feel we have way more albums. We'd have a lot more music written and things done because like when we first started, when we get in the garage, it's be like, okay, well, we got to do our work. Work is, at first we were a cover band and that's what paid the bills, and in a degree, it kind of still does that, so we go over our set list and then, our wives, they'd be making food at Tim's house and hey, dinner's ready. And we'd be like, after playing for like 7 hours and rehearsing what we're supposed to do, any break we'd get, you'd catch Eric come back on the bass and then I'd be like, ooh, that's tasty. What's that? Let me go get on the drums. And we start creating. And I mean, we pop out every session that we were together, probably about, 2-3 solid ideas of something that we wanted to do song-wise. And, and then it even got to the point where before we got into the studio, we were already playing these songs for good or for bad against our lawyer's advice or not to be playing these songs without copyrighting them. We were playing them and practicing them on a real live audience and getting their feedback and, arranging the songs better live, and then by the time you go to the studio, boom, you're done, it's set, So I really feel if we were together, that'd be a lot more magic, but, we'll take what we can get. Unfortunately, we live literally.
Where do you guys record?
So
our album was recorded in, where was it?
Stages. Yep. Stages, Baltimore. Stages studio. It's in just outside Baltimore. Awesome
Evan.
spot. Yep. Evan Kornblum, beautiful guy, amazing sound.
Amazing. Yeah.
And he's taken real good care of us and just shown us a lot of love. He's come out here a couple times to my house. And the whole band would come out for a week or something like that. And we just get set up. And so he was helping us set up to record here in the house. And so I think our first 3 songs, there are parts on all of the first 3 songs that were recorded here in the house. Freedom's Cost, Accept the End, and
Last Memory.
Last Memory. Thank you.
Yeah.
More like Bad Memory.
And it's funny because at that time I didn't record those songs with them. I recorded those songs in El Paso, Texas, because me and my wife had moved to New Mexico to spend my daughter's senior year at her school. So that was just a weird turn of events. Like I'll probably never go back to that studio ever again. So that's kind of unique in a sense.
And honestly, at this point, we're like trying to figure out I guess it's like a resilient compound sort of deal where it's like we can go, stay there with the wives and, like there's stuff to like, can just hang out, record, write, just be in the zone for, I would like that for as much as possible. Like,
Yeah, because as much as we're not just a band too. Like, I mean, a lot of the time we're hanging out. You know, it's like Tim's. I remember it was just like when we're not playing, we're all gathering around telling stories or talking or doing something. You know, so it was at this point it's less of a band, more of like a family. You know, we get in fights like brothers do, and then we make up, and it's funny. It's just it's one thing to be able to work with people as musicians, but then it's also like to be able to like gel with them, because the longevity of band that solely depends on that. If you can gel, if you hate all each other, you can't stand to be a room with each other, then it's never gonna be a band, or a future thing,
Who's the joker in your band?
I think
I tell bad jokes.
I think we all share some humor sometimes.
Okay.
I think we're all pretty good at
Tim, Eric. Everybody has jokes though.
Okay.
Yeah. We
I
like
just think
puns
it depends on our
a lot.
mood,
Is Nathan the serious one?
No, I think Nathan's the shy one, like the quiet one. But like when you get to know him on a level, he's got his own jokes. He's got his own. He's got a lot of qualities that come out. I just think he's kind of reserved. That's it. It comes off as serious, but it's really not. I mean, he is right now one of our acting managers, and he has been taking the brunt of that responsibility and stuff. And I think in a way we all have shown some sort of leadership in the band in the past, and so I feel like just like they said, we all joke around, we all have our qualities that we bring to it. And I think even down to like all our members, I think have a seriousness about them when they need to, and then being able to chill and be human and be joking and be just present,
Do you guys get mad at Nathan because he looks the most like Nick Jonas?
We actually
Honestly,
call him the Terminator.
it's gotten a little old how pretty he is.
Okay.
And I mean, you got to see him in one of those like muscle shirts he wears on stage sometimes, or that sort of thing.
Okay.
Dude's freaking jacked.
It's really cool,
I keep
though.
Lifting, can't get there. I'm like, Nathan, how, man? But dude's a freaking monster.
Cool to see Nathan use that as his wellness and his therapy, and he's always one thing I do like about Nathan. He's always trying to share things that will better your life. I remember one thing that he said is like, I wasn't feeling really good, and I just started walking one day, and that's where my journey started back into like my fitness and just getting out of the mental fog. And I often think about that when I'm struggling to stay focused, or like every day it's a discipline. There's no one who has it locked down. Either you have to get up and make that decision to make that day. It doesn't come easy, And so when he said, I just started walking, I that's like a kind of a focal point that I do now. It's like, okay, just start walking. Just start getting your day going, finding that. So that's what he brings to the table, in my opinion. He's always trying to, something that he finds himself, and he shares it and betters, and always trying to find a solution. It's the same with Tim too. They're like the peacemakers in the band. When me and Greg are going at each other for whatever brother reasons, they're usually the ones that are the cool, level-headed ones.
Again, absolutely blessed by you guys. Absolutely blessed.
We're blessed to be here, brother.
Man, thank you for having me.
It's a privilege to, just get to hang and get to share. Get to spend some time with these boys. And Nathan is very much the definition of, still waters run deep. He did most of the writing for Classified. He's the one who started that whole piece. And it's been cool to see the journey kind of for each of us. Looking back, like I barely recognize myself at points. And Nathan, connecting with Nathan at Walter Reed, connecting with Dom in New York for those shows, and it really brought out a different side of me, and it really it helped me take that next step, you know. And I mean, when we first started getting together in the early days, half the time we just get together in the music room, and Nate and I, you know, would just be like, hi, how are you? Good. And then it was kind of like, God, we'd just like sit and listen to music for a while, or
gosh,
you know,
been
maybe
to
jam
be a
a little
fly
bit.
on the wall back then. It would just been like,
it was very quiet. When we looked like we had just been released from some sort of internment camp. You know, we were heads shaved and all emaciated, tiny. We'll have to send you some of the pictures of each of us from the early days. Oh man, yeah. We're just
feeding tubes in your nose and all kinds of good stuff.
Voices all hoarse from, you know, in, you know, in different cases a tracheotomy, or the, you know, being intubated for really long because of the comas, or just, you know, these sad little shriveled things. And could barely had the energy to interact.
Yeah,
you know, it was
also
like
being humbled too in the beginning by people, like, because, you know, I had a bad attitude about my accident, really did. Like, at first I couldn't, I mean, here I was, a bad mother, you know what, serving his country in Afghanistan. Next thing, I'm waking up and I'm in the hospital bed. I can't shave my own face, wipe my own ass, can't do much of anything, and feeling pretty sorry for myself. And I remember another, I won't use his name because he doesn't want me to, but a Marine was walking around the Matzi in Walter Reed, and he was walking around kind of funny, like limping. And I was like, what the hell is this dude's problem? And I was in such a bad mood. And finally, my therapist got the chance to like put me in my place. And he was like, oh, that's so-and-so. He's a quad, and he's about to go take his driver's test. I was like, whoa, well, if I had a foot to take out of my mouth, I would certainly, this would be the cue, you know? And so there's just stuff like that humbled me real quick. And just the understanding that I'm blessed with my sight and my hearing and my left arm, which I was naturally left-handed. And so to me, those are blessings. Instead of looking at the negative, what I don't have, I could be burnt, I could be blind, I could be missing all my limbs, you know? So that's
messed up in the head.
And made me start thinking the positive side, you know? And obviously I had this tattoo. I was in a bad mood. I tattooed pawn because I felt like the day I got injured, I was telling people I was a point man, and I knew exactly what was going on. I knew something was there, and I had to proceed because that was orders. And so I kind of wrote a Facebook post after all this thing when I was freshly injured. I said, you know, F the Marine Corps, F all this, you know, because I was mad. I was pissed off. I was angry at the world. And I knew my job, and nobody listened to me, and I felt like a fucking pawn, you know? And some lady wrote a comment under there, and she was like, young man, you have to understand that once you displace your anger, you'll understand that the pawn, when it reaches the other side of the board, it becomes the most powerful piece on the board. And that just, it was another wake call for me. So it's just like, there's so many things that I just simply cannot be negative. I can't wallow in self-pity. I can't, especially for the guys who gave their ultimate sacrifice of, you know, their life so that I also can live free. I just can't waste that, you know?
Have you guys had a chance, or is there a consideration of putting your stories on paper?
I have a few TED Talks out. People have asked me all the time to, I think my wife's in the process of getting some guys to start helping me write down my stories and stuff. But
what if I got a guy?
That would be awesome. That's part of why I wanted to start journaling.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Frank, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
I'd be more than honored to help or do whatever I can.
Yeah.
If anybody has a story, it's you guys.
We'd love that, brother. Because I mean, individually and together, you know, like it's
well, one of the things I didn't put in my New Year's resolution talk. My first 2 books both won Best Book Awards, and this year I'm up for the Best Writer of the Year.
Oh, nice!
Congratulations!
So,
That's awesome, brother.
Well, what I'm trying to get to is there's some connections I can go through, and I think that whatever you want to put on paper would be a great thing to have out.
That'd be awesome.
I'd be happy to stop wherever I am with the books I'm working on to help you.
Yeah.
I just want to bring this panel, including Dr. MacAulay, I just want to bring it all back together. I think there's so much that we miss. There's so much that we can plug and play, and just there's just real stuff in there that everyone's got an understanding. Everyone has an impact, and it's just like, gosh, I sent Andrew, like, I don't do the hierarchy stuff, but I sent Andrea a message. I go, this is a top 10 episode for WP3 just because of your guys's content, your conversation, your working through. Nathan, it's a work in progress. Just the conversation in regards to what should be known and what shouldn't be known as far as classified. I mean, all these pieces, just we're already into doing our final thoughts, and then we're not even done with the show yet, and that's weird. And it's 2 hours, and I really am not even planning on shutting this thing down. Sorry, Andrea, she does the cutting. But this stuff is dynamic, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack, like you said.
Well, and you guys are graciously laying it on the line. Again, just following the sequences of the songs, classified, it all should be secret. And then resilient, it's not an everyday I wake up and I want to just do it. It's a work in progress. And these are real life experiences. And again, then you get into the conversation about, we've got men that have been literally blown up, lost limbs, and they're gracious enough to turn around and say, it doesn't matter what the loss was, we all served, and everyone's carrying a part of that with them. And I'm just intrigued. I'm in honor again of being in the same conversation with you guys, and just the way you hold yourselves. I just appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, brother.
Let's get this last song done, and then we'll go to final thoughts.
Very good.
Fall in Line. How are we gonna mix this one into it?
Well, the title is a pretty good indicator. There's times where, what are you going to do? The choices available to you, the options in front of you. Can you make your own options? Can you choose besides what's in front of you? Do you have to fall into place to, do what you're told? And sometimes that's the right thing, but not always.
This is the Resilient. Fall in Line.
Do I feel this nagging at the corners of my mind, like a clawing and scratching, trying to get into the blinds? Holding them back is taking all of my time. It's taking my time. Where am I going? Where do I come from? What am I feeling, and why am I on the run? With a little knowledge, life loses all its fun. When you find what you need, just will you do when you're told to fall in line? When you find what you need, just let me know. When you get what you want, come on, let it show. When you find what you need, just let me know. Just let me know. When you find what you need, just let me know. When you get what you want, come on, let it show. When you find what you need, just let me know. When you find what you need, just let me know. When you get what you want, come on, let it show. When you find what you need, just let me know.
That is Resilient. Fall in line. When you decided to make music, is everything a reflection of your service, or is it a reflection of life? Do you want it to be a reflection of service?
At first, like I was totally against anything that had to do with military because I just didn't want to be considered a military band. I wanted the music to speak for itself. So I didn't at all, and I feel like Tim was kind of the same, but it just turned out that a lot of lyrics kind of, well, they can mean anything to anyone. You know what I mean? That's what's the great thing about music. If Tim doesn't say this song is about this, then you're free to kind of intake that, digest that however you please, you know, and they just, some songs I feel are and some songs aren't. They're about everyday life, you know.
Well, this is a unique situation in the fact that when you go out and you play, you're playing your music, and here we're connecting the dots. I mean, it makes sense because the panel understands and knows and sees the spaces and the places, and so that was kind of where I was going with this, because there's some straight up that you get into the music world, and this is Scotty Hastings has several songs that Why Did You Choose, and it's about survivor remorse, and and he's talking to God about, it's obvious where he's going, but you only know that if you know who Scotty Hastings is and know that he's a combat wounded vet from Afghanistan. Because if you listen to the song, you have no idea, but we do. And then there's a memorial at the end of his video, which kind of, he memorializes one of his brothers that he lost in battle. But I mean, there's some musicians out there that just lay it on the line. This is what it is. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to represent. I'm not saying that about your music. I'm saying I can sit here and listen to your music, and it is for the common world to listen to, and it is quality music put together by some great individuals.
Thank you. We appreciate that. I feel like we never put at least I've never, I don't think anybody in the band has ever influenced Tim's lyrics at all. I mean, he's free to write about whatever he so chooses, and I think to me, I'm always interested in what he writes because I feel like he's a great writer, and I do. Even when Nathan writes you know, and I just feel like everyone contributes a very good chunk of everything they need to, and the music, like Tim was being very modest when he said he just floats on top of the music, you know. That's one hell of a way to float on music, but I feel like we all bring something to the table. We bring a ferocious backing, and he's the leader that puts out the rest of the feeling. I think it's a very 50-50 thing.
It's one of those things where, I mean, there's stuff. I mean, I'll write little bits and pieces. It's really with the guys when something comes together as like one cohesive thing. The chunks kind of fit together and it all makes sense. But these guys, I mean, they don't tell, you know, they're not like, oh, you know, what about changing those words or, you know, something like that. But these guys impact my lyrics all the time with their attitudes, with, you know, their hearts. And, you know, sometimes it'll just be a little conversation. And then, you know, half an hour later, I'm writing something down that's, you know, a step off of that. And, you know, but it's something that they said that really affected me and, or really, you know, connected a couple pieces for me in a way. And I got to be honest, it is funny writing lyrics sometimes because people read into it a lot, you know, and sometimes the train of thought, I'm like, I have no idea how it took you there, but I love that. I love that, you know, this is where it ended up because at the time, I'm just going with a feeling and kind of just seeing what pours out, you know, a lot of the time. And it's such an interesting process because, I mean, you have your specific moments where it's like, oh, this is, you know, for example, you look at Last Memory. There are some particular things in there that it was like, oh, yeah, you know, like you can relate that right to the military kind of thing in a number of ways. And same with Freedom's Cost, same with, but for me, I guess, yeah, the military, the Marine, yes, it's who I am. It's what made me what I am today. But there's more to me. You know, when I was first getting involved with music at Walter Reed, so Greg, our lead guitarist, he was involved with the program Music Corps at Walter Reed, and that was the music program Nathan and I got involved with that Dom mentioned earlier, and that Roger, you know, Roger Waters connected with and wanted us to do the show with him. But that connection was not instantaneous or easy, or, you know, the first couple times they came around, I told them to take a hike because, you know, at that point, even just listening, you know, this was in the first few months of my injury, early 2012, and I told, you know, I couldn't even listen to music much because it made me feel. And well, at that point, you know, I was, it was like, that's gonna make me break a little bit, feeling too much, too fast, and I'm gonna break, and I don't know what that looks like. And so I was like scared, or just, hesitant to listen to music, to listen to like a full song, to just because, something would just come on that connected, clicked, whether it was the music, the words, because that's the beautiful thing about music and songs, and you don't need words necessarily, and you don't need to understand what those words are saying to get the emotion and the feel of the music, and it just takes you somewhere. And yeah, it was hard for a while. And Edelweiss from The Sound of Music, it's its own thing, but the song Edelweiss, that was kind of what like pulled me into, I went into the music room where Music Corps was doing their thing, and Arthur, the head of Music Corps, was listening to Edelweiss, or he had it playing in the background or something. And it just took me right back to when I was a kid. Took me, just, and I was just like, nope, I gotta take a minute. I gotta, like, I can't do this right now. But yeah, honestly, God kept nudging me to just go back there, and the result is where we are now. The chances of me actually, being willing, Nathan being willing, like coming out of our shells, coming out of our rooms, for months we would just come out and it'd be like, hi. And then we'd sit there next to each other and we'd work on whatever piece of music with Arthur for a couple of hours, and then it'd be like, okay, later. And then you go back to your rooms, and like, you didn't talk to each other at all. You just got together, listened to some music, worked on some stuff, and moved on. And it was exactly what we needed at the time. That emotion, that, reconnection, that finding, other people who were in the same place. And yeah, it's one beautiful, so unlikely circumstance after another that has led to us and to the Resilient, and it's just been, it doesn't get any better, like these guys, they've taken me on one wild ride I did not expect. And honestly, in the early days, I was like, so I'm a guitar player at base, not, like singing went along with me playing the guitar, because, it's just a secondary. But, in the early days, it was, I'll like just sing for this thing, and, like we can figure out other vocalists or different stuff for the future. Because that wasn't where I was, really comfortable. But yeah, next thing you know, I'm locked in for life, and here we are. And I couldn't be happier. These guys, it's just, we're going to be getting together here on
the 10th.
What, Friday? Yeah.
Yeah.
When's the last time you guys were together?
November.
Yep. Yeah, so all of December we haven't seen each other.
Yep, beginning of November. So
that was the 49er gig, right?
Yep. So that was, right at the beginning of November, and so it's been a couple months now, but we get together on calls, and we've been doing some little writing stuff, and
we're actually gonna go and hopefully put some good groundwork on 2 songs. So.
in the studio. Gonna be getting in the studio here on the 13th and recording some new stuff. So this is what we save for. This is what we, it's part of the reason we love doing the shows and reaching out, but like working on some new stuff and trying to build it out. That's part of the game, and it's tough, but we're at a point where we can get back in there. We got some great new material, so should be cool.
At the studio in Baltimore, or
this is going to be in Los Angeles. It's we're trying a new studio out.
Yep.
So
going out to the west.
Was it?
Going out to the West Coast.
Yeah. Which is nice for me because then I don't have to travel. Usually it's always me and Greg headed out. And it gives the guys a chance to get somewhat warmer weather here.
Get some different culture is what I'm hearing.
A little
bit. Is your music going to sound different coming from California? I'm totally joking.
It already does because I'm a heavy influence. Nah, just playing. It's funny because if anything, I was the one who was really kind of hesitant to record in anywhere else. Usually when I find somebody that like an engineer I like in a studio I like in a home environment, I kind of like tend to not want to get out of that bubble. But I think getting out of that bubble kind of creates new energy and creates new excitement and new adventures. And so that, I guess if there's anything that I want to do in this year is kind of like lean a little bit towards the unknown versus things that are familiar to me.
Well, if you guys have time to hang around after we get through final thoughts, I'd like to pitch a thought to you.
Love it.
Said, we've got some friends in the industry, and they've given us some special gifts, and I think you guys more than qualify for what they would provide. But again, it's just a suggestion, and you guys take with it what you want. And at the end of the day, we'll figure out all the pieces. And if we're part of it, great. If not, it's that doesn't hurt our feelings. That's just
we're all about connection and collaboration, bro.
Yeah. So we should probably get to our final thoughts. And normally we let Frank start this off. We're going to kind of, for lack of a process, we're going to kind of go on a W. Frank, Nathan, Timothy, Dom, Andrea, then back to me. Only because I can say I'm the boss at this particular moment, and that's how we're going to do it. Frank, final thoughts, brother.
All right. Well, once again, we've had a great show, and it's inspired me in different ways. And I've always said, and I'll always say until God calls me home, that us veterans and first responders, we need to find out what our purpose is. And that would go a long way toward helping people who have issues and are dealing with things and they think they're alone. Purpose is a perfect definition of what we saw tonight. We have 3 gentlemen who have found a purpose and found something that they believe in, and they're going to do for as long as they'll draw breath, probably. And this is what keeps people going. And this is what keeps me going. And the biggest thing is people need to search and find that purpose. Might not be singing, might not be writing books. It might just be enjoying the outdoors. It might be taking care of a pet. It might be taking care of your older parents. But something in your life that you feel tied to, that you want to connect with and do. And that purpose is what will drive us to lower this insane number of fellow brothers and sisters that we're losing every year. That's it.
Thanks, Frank. Nathan.
I would just want to bring up, or give acknowledgement to the two members of the band that weren't on the podcast. My brother Eric Kalwicki, he's our bass player, and he's like the glue that holds the band, musically together for sure. He also is like Dom's drum tech, and he does a lot of the fixing, and anything breaks, we go to him. And then Greg Loman, once again, he's a super talented, musician. He's sort of made his living out in LA now, and he's also in one of the top tribute bands for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're called the Red Not Chili Peppers. Super talented. And then I would also like to shout out this organization called A Soldier's Journey Home, and they're actually building a house for me and my wife this coming year, or I guess it's now this year. And it's basically a bunch of first responders, mostly firefighters, but also some veterans of the military and the like. They all get together once a year. They've been doing it for like 11 years. I think this is like the 11th build, maybe the 12th. And they build a house in like 2 weeks. And so I'm just really blessed at this moment and thankful for that, and appreciative to you all for having us on.
You're a beast, Nathan. Appreciate you. Timothy.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us. This has been a delight and a privilege, and exactly why we're doing what we're doing. Connecting, and it's what I can really say is the point is hope. There's always hope, and no matter how alone you feel, no matter how solitary at the moment, we are here, and we love you. We care, like we do. We give a crap, and so many people have shown us so much love that it just can't be. You can't pay that sort of thing back, All you can do is continue the example, and hope that you reach somebody. And at the end of the day, our goal is just a little hope, a little service. But service never stops, That's part of being human, part of being. It's not about us. It's about those around us, the people you care about, people you don't even know who are going through some of the same crap you're going through. But end of the day, we're here for each other, and finding some way to give. It doesn't have to, just do something, show a little love, try to connect. It makes such a big difference. And it can be so disheartening sometimes. It can be, it can feel like you're just constantly getting smacked, or, that it's about your inadequacies because you're just stuck in your own head. And we all have those days, but end of the day, if you look beyond yourself, suddenly your problems seem a lot smaller. And a little gratitude, it's infectious. It goes so far. Just being grateful, being being happy with what you've got. Like we're, you know, we've had our issues, but we're the lucky ones. You know, we've each got so much to be grateful for that we've been shown so much love, so much support. And this is another example being on here tonight. And this is the kind of thing that it really, it's good for us too. And we hope, all we can do is hope that somebody connects with it, somebody sees it, somebody, it touches their heart.
Thank you, Timothy.
Just want to say thank you guys for having us. I really appreciate it. Any chance to share a same brainwave, you know. I think it's crazy how 2 hours and 30 minutes isn't enough time to cover all the topics we were talking about and go into the depth that we wanted to. But I hope the people that were listening, you know, got something out of it. Remember, your 10 is your 10. You know, if you're having a bad day, don't try to downplay it with somebody else's pain. You know, make sure that you always feel like, you know, you matter. You know, take care of yourself so you can help others. I think is the greatest message. Is you can't take care of people 100% if you're not 100%. You know, and everyone is entitled to great mental health as well as physical health. And you know, like Tim said and Nathan said and everyone has said it, you know, just kind of listen into all that stuff and try to draw a better conclusion and know that, you know, everyone is resilient. It's just not a military thing. Everyone could have PTSD. It's not just a military thing. I don't think we should put labels on, like you said earlier in the podcast, about whose pain is more. I mean, that's the thing that we need to do, is lean on each other and just be there and listen. And sometimes the best medicine is just to lend a shoulder to cry on, or open your ear to have somebody speak and get it all out. And, you know, just take care of each other. That's the greatest message. And, you know, like Nathan always says, stay resilient.
Miss Eichmann.
Wow. So I get to follow all of that. Thanks, you guys, for that. I got a whole page full of notes and things you've said and things I wanted to wrap together, and so many commonalities with Janelle. I mean, resiliency obviously is the term of the evening. I would say hour, but evening. But then all that goes into resiliency. It's not just like I'm tough and I can get through this. It's all the pieces. I need my people. I need other people to need me. I need to feel like I belong and find where I belong and create that space if it doesn't exist. And that's kind of how you guys did this. Not that it didn't exist for you, but this is a space for you, whether you're 1,200 miles apart or on the same stage in the same moment. So some of the key besides resilience, connection, support, sharing all of it, and just at the bottom of it is love for each other. If I had to wrap it into a neat little package of words, because it's not just about pushing through everything. It's about keeping your connections, being honest about those pains and those things that you carry, the feelings, the physical pain, the emotional issues, and all the good parts too. And then Dr. Janelle reminding us that real strength is built in, again, I'm repeating myself because there were so many connections and so many commonalities, but real strength being built in community, and that the healing begins when we stop carrying the weight by ourselves and we let others help us carry it. It's weird that I'm getting a very religious image in my brain at those words. And the music, all of the music just reminds us that owning your pain, owning who you are, owning that your service helped build who you are, but that's not all who you are. There's so much more. Timothy just disappeared, but he's back, and those were kind of his words. So here at the People's Patriot Project, we do it. It seems simple now that I've listened to all of this, but we check on our six. We help build those communities and connections, and we care. That's why we're here. 286 episodes, and that's twice a week. So it's double that, plus some specials, plus we have no idea how many we did before we started counting. And I'm not the military person in the room. I just care. So coming from the outside, that's my piece. And I'm grateful to be included in these conversations and these moments because it helps me be able to understand and be a shoulder, be a rock, be a wall to bounce off. And I can do my job better then and be supportive even better. So thank you. Please stay grounded. Please know that we are here. Anyone watching and listening in, these guys are here for you. I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter which one you pick one. If you need something ever, I have a feeling they'll be there for you. Unless, of course, they're on a stage in the stadium with the 49ers. They might be busy for a minute. Then you can call Frank because his Bears aren't that busy. That's sad because I come from the land of the Vikings where we watched, they were just playing for fun today. So please, okay, you're not alone. I'm going to bring all the way back to the beginning when Shannon stopped in. You are not alone. Stay connected. We're all here for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's all been said, man. We've been blessed tonight by the amazing band, The Resilient. Resilience is the name of our show tonight. Dr. MacAulay was absolutely, I get people have schedules. I'm not throwing her under the bus, but I can't imagine. I mean, we broke a record tonight. It's a record, Andrea.
I love the record because I can listen all over again.
Yeah, no, there was nothing. So here's a truth. At one point I said to Andrea, we have some back conversations going on. I'm like, it's going over our slot, but I can't stop this. And the thing was, when we started the show, and it was supposed to be a 1-hour show back, and this was years now, we always committed that we would never stop the truth. We would never stop the real message. And that was a case of tonight. We won't do that. We're not going to do that. The world needs to know. Our brothers and sisters need to know. They need to know there's opportunity. They need to know that there's a beacon. And in their worst moments, it is, I mean, we push buttons all day long. We are here. And Timothy made that clear for the band as well. I mean, we can't, it's just the mission goes. There's no destination. There's no finish line. It's constant. We get up. And we need to make sure that there's supports there for those that are doing and those that want to do and those that have done. And that's the reality. Why do we focus on veterans and first responders? Because they're the ones that have provided all the opportunities that we have. And I don't understand why that's not I spent a couple of moments watching football this weekend, and it was in public places. And to listen to the national anthem being publicly played, it is my position to stand and give honor to that flag. I know I'm reaching right here now, and I actually had to stop a conversation with someone from the administrative side of the Minnesota Vikings to say, excuse me, I'm going to honor my flag right now. And he goes, I'm sorry. And I'm like, don't be sorry. I did my thing, came back, went and shake his hand later. So it was nice meeting you. My goal was, I didn't have a goal. My goal is, this is for me. That flag means the most for me. And there are men and women who have lost their lives. They've lost their limbs. They've lost time. They've lost their tears, their blood, all those things. We need to stop and slow down and recognize and acknowledge. And I know that the men on this platform today don't want the recognition or are not asking for the recognition. And I don't think you don't need to publicly do it, but you need to understand, educate yourself, and be aware of why you get to drink what coffee you drink in the day, what music you listen to, what side of the aisle you want to stand on. It was bought and paid for. It did not come free. We have been absolutely blessed. We'll be here tomorrow at 16:30 for the WP3 Weekly Debrief. We'll be back here next Sunday at 1800 Central Standard Time with William Pearson, Team USA bobsled athlete. He's probably going to be real happy to hear that part. You're part of a bobsled, buddy. No, not true. We'll blame it on Frank for that one. Thank you, gentlemen, for being on here tonight. Thank you, Dr. MacAulay, who's not with us right now. Thank you, WP3 team, for the things you've done. Happy freaking New Year. Make sure the version of you tomorrow is better than the version of you today. Check your 6, Patriot Pride, and we'll see you when the smoke clears.
Stay resilient.
Stay resilient.